Hello everyone, this is an update on Harry and Meghan, and if their energy had changed. I also asked if there were any plans to come over with the invitation from the Queen for Commonwealth. As you can see, it's not looking promising. We start off with Meghan. We have the Knight of Swords, the Ten of Swords, the Ten of Wands, foundation cards, again the Knight of Pentacles and the High Priest. So with Meghan, I don't think thoughts of the UK are on her mind at the moment. What we do have for the foundation cards, the High Priest denotes seeking legal advice, which is surprising because this was the Queen's decision. So what it made me do, I thought, well, can the Queen be arrested? It's not a question I don't think I've ever thought of before. But I checked, and I've got a page here, so I'm going to read this bit out. It says, in the UK, sovereign immunity, or crown immunity as it is sometimes referred to, is a doctrine stating that the monarch can do no wrong. In other words, if Queen Elizabeth decided to go on a crime spree, she would not be arrested or prosecuted for anything, even if she confessed or there was extremely strong evidence against her. So in other words, the Queen could go into Waitrose, steal some digestive biscuits, jump up and down, wave it around and say, I've done it, and she wouldn't be prosecuted. So that's interesting to know. I'm not quite sure why this would come up, but it does look like Meghan may have taken some legal advice regarding Her Majesty the Queen, and if she was allowed to put a stop, which is the Knight of Pentacles, on Sussex Royal. And then we get the Knight of Swords, which is rushing in. If that was an advice card, it would be slow down. Don't speak hastily, take your time, be diplomatic. I don't think that's going to happen because we have the Ten of Swords next to it. Even though the Knight is rushing in one direction and the Ten of Swords in the other. And two tens, we have endings. I did ask about whether she would appear for Commonwealth, but this doesn't look as if it's anything to do with the Commonwealth. I may have just picked up her energy today, and it's very, very bad and angry. And then we move to Harry, and it's quite similar to yesterday. Harry has the Nine of Swords. This again was, will he turn up? And the Eight of Swords and the Eight of Cups. Foundation cards, the Queen of Cups and the Knight of Cups reversed. Now the Knight of Cups, if he had been, there we are, show him that way, there we are. If the Knight of Cups had come out that way, it would show a gallant man, not particularly, it could be romance, but an offer, kind, chivalrous. Reversed, it shows, if it's Harry, you would be looking at being unfaithful, a womanizer. If it is not Harry and it's someone in his environment, it would be someone who he would have expected to be a sycophant to him, and they're not. It's stopped. And he would expect this kind of behaviour because he's Prince, he is still, distant but heir to the throne because of his mother, Diana. And again, he cannot face it. We have the mental, emotional turmoil of the Nine of Swords, the constant overthinking, the Eight of Swords, and those together combined are terrible cards for mental health, really, really bad. And the Eight of Cups is walking away from the situation. So certainly if they do attend, the cards and the energy will have to drastically change, because both of them are in a very dark place. We have, if you work, we have the 8 of Swords, the 9 of Swords, then go over to Meghan's side, and the 10 of Swords. It just seems to be getting bigger and more final. And then I asked how, well, both of them asked separately, how does Meghan feel about the Queen and her decision? So how does Meghan feel towards the Queen? 5 of Swords and the Star. Now normally the 5 of Swords is about, usually to do with feeling humiliated. It is a victory, but it's come at a cost. Now Meghan has not had a victory. She hasn't got what she wanted, so this looks like she wanted to be the star of the show, and she feels the Queen has humiliated her. Then I asked, how does Harry feel towards the Queen? The shadow side, which in this deck is the shadow side in this deck, it is otherwise known as the Devil. And the 5 of Cups, as you can see the body language in this, I'll just zoom in a little bit more. Clutching the head. There is a real feeling of, in all the cards that are to do with Harry, of anguish. Now I don't know whether this is self-imposed anguish or brought on by the Queen's decision. I think he really was not expecting her to do this. He's been able to do things and get away with things for all his life. And even though it wouldn't be a major thing to anyone else, they can of course rebrand. She's not taken away too much that we know of. The only other thing I can think of is maybe she has, or maybe the Queen has suggested something that we, the public, are not yet privy to. Because these cards are very, very drastic, particularly, alright, Meghan's are, Meghan's are not good, but they weren't too bad yesterday, whereas Harry's are continually in a very, very deep, dark, mental place. He isn't coping. Because we do have the major card of the shadow side, that portrays someone getting inside your head. Now, like I said, this could be his own thoughts of what he could have done differently, how he could have handled it differently maybe. As in the readings yesterday, it seemed that he hadn't been diplomatic, and maybe he could have provoked the Queen into making this decision. But he's not regretting the decision. He could be wallowing in self-pity, or it has triggered off depression, because I think there was a paparazzi photo of him a day ago and he was smiling, getting a coffee with several security people. If he was that distraught, you wouldn't even see him. But it definitely feels like it's Harry at the moment. And again, no one is facing. We have the 9 facing the bed, 8 blindfolded, 8 walking away, Queen of Cups looking down, and the Knight of Cups reversed. Shadow side looking at each other, terrified, and she is looking down. And for Meghan, I think the only one who is looking is the legal side. So the only card to actually face the situation, look at it head on, is the legal advice. And well, luckily we know the Queen cannot go in the dock, nor should she. And it will be interesting to see if Meghan and Harry do turn up.